Welcome into Action Island presented by FanDuel. I'm Megan Payton, joined alongside Nick Giffen, Gilles Gallant, Sean Kerner. Happy Thursday night football. It's the last Thursday night football game of the season. We've got Jets, Browns, and I figured since it was the last game, we'd recap how this Thursday night crew has been crushing it. If you've been tailing our crew, you've been winning money. Nick, Gilles, and Sean are crushing this. Three analysts with if you would have tailed them with a half a unit on each pick, you'd be up a total of 13 and a half units for a return of investment of nearly 27.5%. And by the way, the parlays have been also on a roll. This crew has hit 3 same-game parlays this season. And if you bet a half a unit on each parlay, you'd be up an additional 6.24 units for the season, which is a return of investment of 78%. So congratulations, crew. This was really successful, honestly.
Yeah, we got one more. So, we started off week two,
right?
Already profitable for the whole year, basically. So let's do one more.
Hey,
What's funny, Nick?
Maybe throw a full unit on it this time, right?
Yeah. Well, I was on last year's crew where we went over. So the fact that we even got 3 wins and a win very early in the year just to get that monkey off the back, I'm feeling pretty confident about how we're going into this matchup here.
We're putting all the units on this parlay. Kidding, but it's going to be a good one, guys. We're going to finish strong with Jets, Browns. Browns are laying 7.5 points. Trevor Siemian starting for the Jets. Joe Flacco, maybe a revenge game for him after his former team said, we don't need you. We don't want you. They wish they had him now, I'll tell you that, as the Browns look to make it to the playoffs. If you're new to Action Island, it's the place to be for parlays. Also presented by FanDuel, and FanDuel has a great offer right now. If you bet $5 on any money line, you're going to get $150 in bonus bets if your team wins. This is for new users in Arizona, Colorado, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, and Wyoming. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Well, if you're just now joining us for the regular season, you got some catching up to do, but I'll kind of keep it simple here. Nick, Gilles, and Sean are going to present 2 different bets that they like, and then we're all going to vote one on, one off. So at the end of this, you'll have a 3-leg same-game parlay. Build it how you want. I mean, you saw the units and how the bets have been hitting as a whole. So if you want to make it a 6-leg parlay, go for it. I'll throw in a bonus bet at the end as well. So Nick, you'll start us off here. It's Browns, Jets. What can we look at for our first leg?
Yeah, well, the 3 of us here, we've made 99 Action Island picks so far this year. So this is pick number 100.
Let's go.
I am taking the total in this game under 34.5 points. If you've been following us all year long, we've got the luck rankings. This one is a luck total of minus 6.3. Again, anything under minus 5 is 27, 16, and 1. That's 62.5% to the under this year and 60% to the under over the last 6 years. That's a 206 game sample size. So we are right in the sweet spot here, especially between minus 5 and minus 7 after week 9. That's over 64% to the under. So we're right in the luck under sweet spot here. The Browns, they've been really good with Joe Flacco these past 4 weeks. Not going to lie, they've scored 106 points in Flacco's 4 starts, but they are scoring above expectation. Our expected score metric, which powers our luck rankings, has the Browns scoring just 98 points. So that's a difference of 2 points per game over expectation. So we'd expect some regression back towards, a little bit lower scoring for the Browns. The Jets pass defense, they're going to be tough for Joe Flacco to face. Joe Flacco and the Browns have been throwing at a much higher rate on early downs. Hat tip to our colleague Anthony DeBundo for pointing this out in his pass play article this week. So that may not help this Joe Flacco-led offense because of this really strong Jets pass defense. The Jets pass defense has stayed under the median pass DVOA in all but 3 games this year, including 5 in a row and 11 of the last 12. Since Jets pass defense is on fire. They are ranked 3rd in defensive pass DVOA this year. And compare that to the 4 defenses Flacco has faced. they've averaged 20.25 in defensive pass DVOA. So he gets a massive downgrade in terms of the difficulty of the defense he is facing in the pass game. The Jets themselves are coming off 3 straight games where the total points in the games they've been involved in have gone over the total expected score. So again, expect some regression there. And of course, Cleveland's big playmaker, especially last week, Amari Cooper, is questionable. Any sort of limitation on him or out would certainly help the under here as well.
And now I also feel like this has been the trend, we'll call it, of the backup quarterbacks. We start to buy in really early. We say, oh gosh, like we got to go with the Josh Dobbs story. They've been crushing. And Joe Flacco right now is that guy. Jake Browning was the guy last week, and now it's Joe Flacco. I'm not saying that he's going to have a bad game, but this is where the luck rankings really fall into place. And it's kind of that topic that you talk about all the time. They're scoring more than expected. And they're facing a Jets defense that, yes, we like to bang and knock on the Jets, but they've really done a good job. The pass defense is good. And then, Nick, I'll follow this up real quick, and you can give us our second leg with, do you feel like because the Jets really don't have anything to play for, that there's a little bit less motivation tonight?
Not necessarily. I mean, each player out there is still trying to do their best.
True.
They've still got careers to play for. So I think just in that sense, they'll still be playing tough.
Yeah.
So to your point there, that's going to lead me to my second pick. And instead of taking the full game, we could also just look at one of these 2 teams. Now, both of them have negative team totals, but I'm specifically going to go with the Browns team total under 20.5 points. Their luck team total of minus 3.3 is lower than the Jets luck team total. And in fact, the Browns luck team total is the 4th lowest of all the 32 teams in week 17. As I mentioned, the Flacco-led Browns have been really good, but they have scored 28.5 points per game versus an expected of 24.5 per game. So that 24.5 is 4 points over the 20.5 we're getting here. But again, defenses they've faced have been much easier than what they're getting. The average defensive DVOA of the 4 teams they faced has been 17.25. And again, the Jets are 3rd in defensive DVOA, 3rd in pass and 3rd in overall defensive DVOA. So a much tougher defense this week for the Browns to face. On the flip side, the Jets defense, they allow 20.1 points per game. So that's under the 20.5. And 18.6 expected points per game allowed. So they've been allowing a little more than expectation as well. So we should expect some regression there. And that's despite facing the 6th hardest opposing offensive schedule. So, they've faced some really tough offenses this year, and now they face the Browns, who are 27th in offensive DVOA and would rank just 22nd if we took just the Joe Flacco weeks there. So still going from 6th to 22nd is a lot better for the Jets defense. If they're allowing 18.6 points per game expected against really good offenses, we can expect even lower against an offense like the Browns. So that 18.6, and then you downgrade it, that's a long way from 20.5. Plus, again, got to bring up the Amari Cooper point. I think that's a big point there as well.
Not only that, but this could move, honestly, if we find out before this game that Amari Cooper is going to be significantly limited or potentially even out in this game dealing with that heel injury. There's no way it stays at 20.5, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. I mean, maybe it stays at 20.5, but then there's just more juice to the under as well. Possibly.
Yeah, exactly. So 2 options here. Both are an underplay. It's either Browns under their team total at 20.5, or we're going under the game total at 34.5. So Jill, Sean, let's vote. Three, 2, 1. The first leg of our final regular season parlay is sorry, Jill. We're going with the regular total of 34.5. It's hard to bet against just the classic primetime unders. They've been such a hit all season. This is a play, though, where I really feel like you could throw in that team total under for the Browns as well if you want to add an additional leg. I liked the game total. Jill, what were your thoughts on going just Browns?
Yeah, I think part of it too is I mean, I'm expecting a pretty low scoring game, but I think another part of it too is I don't think the Browns are going to have to really score that much to win the game. Like
Yeah.
their defense, they can lean on their defense on the run game pretty heavily, and I think they could put up 17 points and probably just sit on it if they wanted to the rest of the way. My biggest fear with the 34.5 is that just that gross pick six that happens in the fourth quarter to crush you. So that will probably be the only thing that I would be worried about. But I think
Yeah.
both of these, you can't go wrong.
Sean, what was your thoughts?
Yeah, I like both, but I mean, I want to also include, the Jets' crappy offense going up against this Browns elite defense. So let's just go with both teams. Plus, Dustin Hopkins has already been ruled out for the Browns. He's their kicker. He's been really good
Yeah.
this year. 90% made field goals, 8 for 8 from beyond 50 yards. Riley Patterson's only 3 for 6 beyond 50 in his career. So they might pass up on field goals in that range. Like it could be a lower scoring game. And Greg Zuerlein, 96% on the season's questionable, the quad injury. So if he's, ruled out or limited, I mean, in a low scoring game like this, not having both elite kickers could factor into this.
100%. It's not like the Jets have been good at getting scores in the red zone. They've had to rely a little bit on the kicking game, which will be a big problem if they're going to be without their kicker tonight. Okay, the first leg of this parlay is going to be under 34.5. Jill, you are the touchdown guy. Are we expecting scores at all in this?
Just one. I'm not going to be too crazy in a total of 34.5, but the one
Yeah.
that I do like is for the Browns, and we're going to go with their running back, Kareem Hunt, for an anytime touchdown. It's anywhere between the range of plus 200 to plus 220 right now. But so he scored last week, has a pretty large red zone role in this offense. So in 13 games with the Browns, because he joined in about 4 games into the season, he leads the team with 31 red zone touches and 8 touchdowns, 13 red zone touches just over the last 3 games. And what's really encouraging and why I like Hunt in this spot is 7 of his 8 touchdowns have been scored inside the 10-yard line. So he has 10 carries in that spot, whereas Jerome Ford only has 4. And if you actually look through the entire season, guys like Deshaun Watson or PJ Walker, they're all vulturing carries inside the 10-yard line. You don't have to worry about that with Joe Flacco at quarterback. So, and then this Jets pass defense, they're elite, but their run defense, it's not so much. I mean, they've 5 rushing touchdowns allowed over the last 3 games, 7 rushing touchdowns just over the last 5. Again, I really expect a run-heavy approach for the Browns tonight, and I expect Kareem Hunt to score. So that
We're
would be
getting it at
one
plus
side.
210 too, right?
Yeah, not bad odds, Megan. Again, plus 210. Again, I wouldn't play it below plus 200. So just kind of shop around, make sure that you get those best odds, because I am seeing some that have it less than plus 200. So don't do that.
Okay.
But then, so for Kareem Hunt is the anytime touchdown option. The other option, we're going to take Joe Flacco, but we're going to take under 229.5 passing yards. And I think this is a bit of an overinflated line because of the recent performance. Like, he's averaging 44 pass attempts per game. I don't think that's sustainable, especially against this Jets defense that allows the 5th fewest pass attempts per game. They're only allowing 168 passing yards per game. And when you look through the entire season, an opposing quarterback has only thrown for 230 yards in 4 of 15 games. 2 of those were Josh Allen. 1 was to Mac Jones, another one to Tua. I don't think Joe Flacco is anywhere near that. I mean, I'm not going to put him better than Mac Jones, but again, very weird oddities here. But again, another thing too of why I like Joe Flacco under 229.5 passing yards is the turnover issues. He has been in the NFL for like a month back now, and he has 7 interceptions in 4 games. That could pretty much be drive killers, especially against this Jets defense that struggles against the run, but is elite against the pass. So I think with the turnover issues and just the recency bias, I think this is a good spot to bank on the run game and not on the passing. So Joe Flacco under 229.5 passing yards, or Kareem Hunt anytime touchdown.
All right, there we go. Kareem Hunt, by the way, 2 touchdowns in the last 3 games. And then we look at the other side for Joe Flacco under his passing yards. Kind of correlates with the game script if it goes according to the books, meaning Browns are 7.5-point favorites. If it's a positive game script for Cleveland, you'd imagine, regardless of the Jets' pass defense, they'd be running the ball more. This is a team that's going to be in the playoffs and that are really going to try to play it, I'd assume, as conservative as possible when they can. So we're going to go with 2 options here. Nick, Sean, let's vote. It's either Joe Flacco under his passing yards or Kareem Hunt anytime touchdown. 3, 2, 1. Where are we headed? Look at that. We're all on the touchdown. It's hard to pass it up at plus 210. Feels like a good number when we're putting together these parlays. We're trying to get that big payout. I'm all for it. Nick, what did you see?
Yeah, well, I mean, Gilles mentioned it. He wouldn't play this below 2-1, and that's kind of right around where our projections have fair odds, though, there. So definitely getting some solid value on Kareem Hunt anytime touchdown. And while I do like the Flacco under, specifically because of the matchup and like I said, the defenses he has faced versus this Jets defense, I'm not quite sold, Gilles, that the volume would be lower because last year he averaged 47 attempts per start, which is actually more than this year. But of course, that was with the Jets. So just kind of an interesting revenge game spot here for him. So there could be a ton of volume here for Joe Flacco. Even if we think the Browns will go run heavy, I'm not 100% sold on that. So I like the Kareem Hunt TD, even though I'm taking the Browns under, even though I'm on the game under. I'm totally fine with one Kareem Hunt touchdown and then just staying under otherwise.
And it boosts the parlay. We talked about this all season of just because we're going with an under doesn't mean we're not taking a touchdown. Doesn't mean we're expecting this to be 3-0 here. There's going to be some touchdown, and it's better when you can pick the guy and take the under, correlate that in our own world, and boost the parlay. Sean, what were your thoughts here?
Yeah, I like the Hunt one. And while Rowan Ford is, their nominal starter and lead back, Gilles mentioned it, Kareem Hunt really is the goal line back. Since he was fully integrated in the offense by week 6, he's taken 80% of the rush attempts inside the 5. So that's really what we're looking for here. Plus, last week he did see an uptick in receiving usage as well. It was the most work he's seen in the passing game since week 11. So I think they might be moving more towards a 50-50 committee here. So just love the upside with Hunt in the touchdown market here.
Kareem Hunt, anytime touchdown. That's going to be our second leg. Our first leg is under the game total at 34.5. Sean, what are we riding with as our options for the third leg?
Yeah, so for my first one, this is already my official play of the game. It's Elijah Moore over 33.5 receiving yards. And we've already talked about, Joe Flacco has injected life into the Browns passing attack in his 3 straight games of 300 plus yards. And it might seem like Elijah Moore has been sort of the odd man out over this stretch because he's failed to top 20 yards in back-to-back games. But if you take a closer look, he's seen a ton of air yards. He just hasn't been catching the ball. But he has 410 air yards in Flacco's 4 starts, which is 9th most in the entire league over that stretch. So I think he's due for some positive regression. Plus, I kind of like how they're using him with Flacco under center. They're throwing him the ball downfield more. He has an ADOT of 17.4. I've always said he's more than capable of a full route tree like that. I think he has Tyler Lockett type upside in this role. It just hasn't come to fruition yet, so we're kind of buying low on him. And while the Jets secondary is elite, they have allowed 13 yards per target on pass attempts, 15 plus yards downfield to slot receivers. So considering Moore is going to be in the slot 30 to 40% of the time tonight, I think that's his path to kind of catching a long ball here. And, we've already mentioned that Amari Cooper is shaping up to be a game time decision. If he's, limited anyway or even ruled out, Moore's prop is only going to go up. Yeah. And, this is a revenge game for Elijah Moore and Joe Flacco. So, I think they might not say it to the press, but I think they both want to have a good game tonight. So we might see a couple more targets to Moore tonight as a result.
We love betting on a revenge game. It's not just Joe Flacco. It's Elijah Moore, who had kind of a rough exit with the Jets earlier on in his career. Over his yard line at 33.5, I could absolutely buy into that. The targets are there. The yards are there. Just catch the ball, Elijah Moore. And I feel like he's got that extra motivation tonight. Sean, what's the other option we can go with?
I'm going with another over here. Tyler Conklin over 27.5 receiving yards. Backup tight end Jeremy Ruckert won't suit up tonight, and he's really been eating into Conklin's snaps quite a bit over the last handful of games. So we could see Conklin run a route on 75-80% of Trevor Siemian's dropbacks tonight. And last game, Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall combined for 70% of the target share. And while I do expect both to dominate targets, it probably won't be quite nearly as much tonight. So I think that could mean more targets for the clear number 3 target in this offense, who is Tyler Conklin. And the Browns defense has been elite just in general this year, but especially against tight ends. But they're going to be without linebacker Anthony Walker again tonight. And last week, Tony Fields, his backup, really struggled in coverage. That's partly why Dalton Schultz ended up going for 8 catches and 61 yards. So I think this is a sneaky spot for Conklin where it's a tough matchup on paper, but with Tony Fields out there, I think they will be able to exploit that, especially with Jeremy Ruckert. I think Conklin's going to see a ton of playing tonight, and he has a higher floor than 27.5 yards, I think.
He's been a good one to bet on from even early on in the season with all the quarterback changes in New York. Conklin's been that kind of key guy to target. At 27.5, it feels low. He's gone over this in 4 of the last 5 games. I get it. Browns are good against tight ends, but seems like a bit of overreaction. And I'm kind of not high on Trevor Siemian, but I feel like if there's a quarterback that you can maybe trust to pass the ball a little bit more, I'm going to go with Siemian over Zach Wilson, which means I'm down to go with the Conklin over. But Jill, Nick, we've got to get to voting here for this one. We're either going Conklin over or Elijah Moore over. Let's vote. Three, two, one. Do we agree on the final leg? Oops. Look at that. Jill, what's going on? What are we doing over there?
Oh, I think for me in this part, especially with the ADOT that Elijah Moore has, he could potentially do this in 1 catch, or even 2 catches. I mean, kind of thing at that point. So, and I think as well, the Cooper aspect and factor here, I think is going to weigh on this a little bit more. I'm not sure how much he's going to be able to play, or even how effective he'll be being shadowed by Sauce and Reed. So I think Elijah Moore, I think I like this bet better. And again, I think I just wanted to make the Seinfeld joke probably as well.
Right there we go. We're all for it here. It's the last regular season Thursday night football game. Elijah Moore, the guy to beat, not to mention, like, he is absolutely going to be the number 1 target if Amari Cooper is out. We don't know that yet, but we know that this line will go up if he is in fact ruled out. So Elijah Moore getting it at 33.5. I'm about it. I like honestly both here. You can't go wrong. Nick, what were your thoughts on Elijah Moore instead of Tyler Conklin?
Yeah, well, last time we had a Moore, we had DJ Floor, and that didn't work out. So we're gonna go Elijah Ceiling instead.
Oh, did you? I didn't even notice that, Nick.
Yeah.
Oh,
So we're not going Elijah Floor.
We're
going Elijah Ceiling this time. But no,
I love it.
I mean, Sean said it's his favorite play of the game. So
yeah,
why would you go against the odds maker's favorite play of the game? And also, I don't trust Trevor Siemian and Tyler Conklin, even though the matchup against the Browns is better with the personnel out, they've been so good versus tight ends. And when I was on Convince Me earlier this year, I gave out Trey McBride under against this Browns defense. So I kind of have a soft spot for tight end unders against the Browns defense. So just not quite on board with the Conklin bet here.
We can't go against your play of the night, Sean.
No,
so we're rolling with Elijah Moore over 33.5 yards for the 3rd leg. It is all Browns plus a game total for our parlay. So let's recap our 3-leg parlay for the final regular season game of Action Island Thursday Night Football. We're going under. Yes, the primetime unders are a thing. 34.5 total points. But hey, don't be confused. We're going Kareem Hunt. We need some touchdowns here. Kareem Hunt, anytime touchdown. And Elijah Moore over 33.5 receiving yards. And you parlay this together on the FanDuel Sportsbook. You are at plus 1204. Talk about a payout for the final parlay. You want to make it more? Well, here's the bonus bet. We're running back to Sean's play. We're going Tyler Conklin over 27.5. I liked it too much to not give it out as the bonus bet. And if you add that in, it's now at over plus 2,500. So there you go. That is the final parlay for Thursday Night Football. Nick, Jill, Sean, are we feeling good about this one? Can we get one more win?
Yes. One more win.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's
Absolutely.
roll.
We got 27.5% ROI on our individual picks this year, 78% ROI on our parlays. Let's add to that.
Go big or go home. Full units on this one. Nick, Jill, Sean, thank you very much. It's been such a fun season of Thursday Night Football. We'll catch you here next time on Action Island.